please welcome School Prefect Catherine He.
Unpopular opinions. Here are mine. There's something wrong with people who don't wear socks with shoes. Is it not gross to have your shoes stick to your feet? Chapstick is a scam. If it's so moisturizing, then why do I have to apply it multiple times a day? Apple Music is so much better than Spotify. Not only do they pay their artists more, but they also have way more music. Motivation is what society wants you to use when working towards success so that you fail. It should not be the only reason that you do what you do because it's unreliable and doesn't work. Good afternoon, Mr. Kidd, Mrs. Bett, Mr. Postma, Mr. Molden, Ms. Hazel, faculty, my family, and fellow students. I understand that y'all might be pretty confused right now. If motivation doesn't work, then why did you get out of bed this morning? Obviously, you had to be motivated by something, right? Whether it was the desire to see your friends in class or simply hunger, there had to be some singular thought that pushed you over the edge of the bed and into walking around, right? Wrong. It was discipline. Self-regulation associated with a schedule that ensured that you would be successful in whatever you needed to do today. To prove my point, let me tell you a story. Not about me, but about the people that have influenced my life the most, my parents. In 1996, my dad flew across the world from his tiny mountain hometown located near Fuzhou, China, to Canada with nothing but a suitcase and an unmatchable desire for opportunity. He settled in St. Catharines and opened a Chinese food restaurant in 2001 in the building that now houses Seasons Sushi, just beside the bus terminal on Carlisle Street. While my dad's restaurant served many customers for a number of years, he eventually had to close the business because it became unsuccessful. When chasing your goals, it is imperative to remember that success is not a continuous positive trend, which is why it is crucial to not rely on just motivation. After you've been hit with failure, be it a failure to perform, take a risk, or anything else, your motivation will likely be non-existent. The same was true for my dad, and although I've never faced such substantial disappointment, you can believe me because I've also experienced failure and its implications myself. For example, when I failed to turn on the rice cooker one night in middle school after my mom specifically told me twice to turn it on at 6 p.m. so that we could have dinner at 7, I was unsuccessful. And after my mom expressed her disappointment in a very colorful manner, I was extremely unmotivated to not only turn on the rice cooker, but also to engage in any other activities with the rice cooker. It became a source of PTSD. However, if I had let this demotivation weave its way into my daily life, I would never have become the master chef that I am today. The discipline of going back to the rice cooker every day at 6 p.m. and improving transformed me into the person I am today. Okay, well, maybe not completely, but you get my point. If my dad had just given up on starting a business because he was not successful the first time, he would have never achieved the success he has found today. Now, back to my story. My dad decided to move to the United States, where he met and married my mom, and eventually I was born in Arkansas. However, my parents had to leave me with my grandparents in China for the first 3 years of my life and missed much of my early childhood to establish a new and improved restaurant in Canada. In fact, the only memory I have from my early childhood is kicking and screaming when I reunited with these two unknown people, my parents, at age 3. There are sacrifices that people need to make as part of the discipline necessary for success. Not everything is going to come easily, and to achieve great things, you must be disciplined enough to fully understand that your actions will pay off in the long run. A delayed gratification element is needed with discipline. Work now and reap the rewards later. Obviously, being disciplined paid off for my parents. If you didn't know, working in a Chinese food restaurant is extremely difficult. Woks, or the massive hemispherical pans customary in Chinese cuisine, are exceptionally heavy and straining on the upper body, especially for people like my dad, who makes hundreds of dishes a day by constantly lifting them up and down. Furthermore, Chinese restaurants have the stereotype of having extended opening hours and being convenient, which means that since I was younger, it was always just my brother and I at the dinner table while my parents made dinner for other people at the most profitable time of day. Most of the time, my parents aren't making food for fun, but because it is necessary. Attending work every day is rooted in discipline. Obviously, there is an opportunity cost associated with achieving success, as Mr. Kenny would say. Nonetheless, my parents, who have a one-day break on Christmas Day annually, are my inspiration because they embody the true power of discipline and what can be achieved with it. They worked their way up from immigrating to North America with no money, no friends, nothing but their suitcases, to ending up sending me to boarding school, which sounds impossible on paper. My parents have been able to achieve everything they have because they had the discipline to do the right thing at the right time. Discipline will trump motivation every single time, and this is an idea that I'm still learning to embrace. Recently, I've been thinking of the things that I wished I had done and the things that I have failed to do, and most of the time, I blame it on a lack of motivation. However, it would be incorrect to blame my unfinished chemistry IA on motivation alone. I really need to stop thinking that the discomfort resulting from missing breakfast and starving until lunch is solely because of my lack of motivation. Motivation is not the reason you feel good when you finish an activity, but it can be a bonus to get you to start one. Discipline, on the other hand, not only allows you to achieve the results that you're looking for, but it is also the engine that will keep you moving forward through difficult times. Don't get me wrong though, discipline doesn't mean that you need to be productive for every single minute of your life. It is just as much about understanding when to take breaks as it is about the understanding that there are difficult things that you must do, because nothing worth having is easy. It's knowing that failure is imperative to success, because you need it to improve and use discipline to reach your aspirations. I am still learning to be disciplined, but as someone who has experienced the excellent results that it brings, I can tell you with complete certainty that discipline is worth more than all of the initial hardships it brings. When it comes to achieving success, motivation should not be the #1 priority or driving factor. Discipline should be. When you've hit a dead end and you've lost motivation, discipline will continue to be by your side, to be the fuel that you need to keep going. Motivation may be powerful in its small spurts, but you will never have control over it, and it becomes easy to give up when it doesn't show up at the right time. Discipline allows you to seek delayed gratification, a necessary but challenging aspect of long-term success. Moreover, when you keep grinding at your goals through the thick and thin, you are much more likely to succeed than if you wait for motivation to strike you like a lightning bolt and shock you into a state of productivity. Achieving the impossible only becomes possible when you are disciplined. In saying all of this, it needs to be recognized that you don't develop discipline overnight. It's a continuous process, and each of our versions of discipline will likely always be flawed. Therefore, when infusing discipline into your life, be kind and patient with yourself when you're working towards success. I encourage you to remember the importance of relying on what you have control over, discipline, when you navigate the daily challenges presented by Ridley and life after Ridley. Everyone wants to be successful, but only some are willing to understand that finding motivation once a week will not give you what you want. However, if you understand this, I'm 100% certain that nothing is unattainable. Discipline may be difficult, but if you make a conscious effort to infuse it into your life, you will undoubtedly be able to achieve what you will be proud to call your own success. Thank you.